What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. I just can't get enough of this Billy Mitchell stuff. It is genuinely interesting. And yeah, I get it. At the end of the day, we're talking about like a 40-year-old Donkey Kong score from an arcade. And it's not the biggest deal in the world, but it's just fun. It's interesting. And Billy Mitchell is just such a polarizing figure that I just can't help myself. And that's how we get to today's video. It's something that Carl Jobs brought up in his video that he said he'd be taking a deeper look at. And honestly, in the meantime, I was like, all right, cool, I'll wait for Carl's video, but why don't I take a deeper look and figure out what I can about this guy? Because it's just genuinely curious that Billy Mitchell would find somebody by the name of Michael Zeda? A professor at a university who would vouch for Billy's scores based off of VHS tapes that clearly came from MAME. So in this video, I'm going to take a deeper dive at who this Michael Zeda guy even is, and take a much deeper look at this supposed expert report. JT. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out SmashJT.com for my full article breaking down Dr. Michael Zeda, a university professor who talks about video games once in a while and has a very decorated history as far as resume is concerned, if it is to be believed. But one thing I've learned in this life is the more you try to prove something to people about who you are, the more it feels like you're trying to hide something. Michael Zeda is a professor at USC and the founding director of its games program. He seems to be carefully curating his professional persona, especially his website, which is just very extensive about who he is as a person, all the way down to including his personal contact information. And probably not the best idea to do that this day and age, but he's old school. His resume reads like a laundry list of honors and positions, from being rated #1 in the Princeton Review for the USC Games program to holding fellowships and memberships in numerous prestigious associations like the ACM, IEEE, and the National Academy of Inventors. While his contributions to game design and virtual reality are there, the sheer volume and variety of his accolades, I can't help but have some questions as to why this guy is such a decorated war hero when it comes to a resume. In the seemingly never-ending tale of Billy Mitchell's Donkey Kong records, Michael Zeda recently offered his take on the technological intricacies involved. Zeda, a seemingly self-proclaimed established figure in gaming technology, brings explanations that raise more questions than they answer, and it leads many to wonder if there's more to his narrative than meets the eye. And just real quick off the top here, going through this 3-page expert final report that he submits, the word could shows up 8 times, and it's only 2 pages long. The 3rd page is just a picture of a TV screen with Donkey Kong on it. So in 2 pages of an expert report, he says the word could 8 times, almost like he's trying to prove Billy's position. He's clearly coming in with a bias here, and it shows heavily while reading through this. He begins his expert report with the following: there are many people that have made strong statements on the technological possibilities and impossibilities they have personally discovered in the video recordings of Billy Mitchell's various gameplays of Donkey Kong. All of these tests are looking for the sources of the anomalies on Billy Mitchell videotapes. Many claim to have wired their systems exactly as Billy Mitchell did. In the end, fail to achieve the same anomalies. Here are some of my opinions on these issues. So we have him stating off the top here that he understands that people have rerun these tests with Billy Mitchell and what he claimed to do and wiring it exactly how he did, proving that it was MAME and not the arcade. Yet now we have this so-called expert in his field that's ready to put his reputation on the line for Billy Mitchell, of all people. Makes you wonder how much money was involved in this transaction. He wouldn't be doing this out of the kindness of his own heart, so clearly someone paid something to him to write this report. And if that's the case, wouldn't that mean that Zyda is heavily influenced to make sure he gets a predetermined result that Billy Mitchell wants out of this? And as you read through the report, it's clear that's exactly what's happening. He then goes on to discuss his thoughts in this 2-page report, well 3 if you include the picture at the end. I'm going to dissect and parse what he said, but if you're interested in reading through the whole thing, the link is attached to the Smash JT article in the description, along with all the other sources I could find for this video. Zyda suggests that the lack of a sync signal in Mitchell's setup could lead to visual anomalies. This hypothesis hinges on a rather old technicality about frame alignment. Yet it's puzzling that this would be the sole source of the anomalies. Video technology, especially in the arcade era, was robust against these minor misalignments. Zeda sounds like he is overemphasizing a technical glitch to divert attention from more glaring inconsistencies, proving the lies of Billy Mitchell. He then points to component aging as a potential source of visual artifact issues, and that's conveniently unverifiable. It's literally something that you could just say, hey, these artifacts on the component aging, we don't have a way to redo that because time kind of ruined how these chords work, and I can't replicate that because it's something that's not replicatable. So just take my word for it. Most likely, that could be an issue. That's the thing with this whole expert report, is it's filled with could. Could comes up 8 times in the report. In 2 pages of writing, he writes the word could 8 times. Almost like he's trying to get a result. Like I said, this is a predetermined situation. It's not a expert analysis or a finding. It's a, hey, can I pay you this money? Can you get this result so I can provide it to the courts so I can prove my innocence, even though none of this is actual fact. The biggest problem that many people have with this is Zeda's point about the videotape generations losing quality and introducing artifacts. Pinning these anomalies solely on videotape degradation feels like a stretch, to put it nicely. These technical details sound like they're being overplayed to confuse the possibility of tampering or manipulation in the original recordings. Going through this report just makes it feel like he's trying to find excuses for Billy Mitchell instead of find the truth. And that's the biggest problem I have with all of this. And sure, Billy Mitchell used him as his expert witness to prove to everyone that he's innocent and that he didn't use MAME, he used the actual arcade unit, even though it's been proven multiple times by many people that it's clearly MAME, it's not the arcade. Billy Mitchell will go and find whoever's out there to vouch for him. If you search long enough and you pay enough money, you're bound to find somebody to put their name on the line saying, sure, I guess it could be an issue. I'm sure you could think of something. Like all this hypothetical, maybe there's an issue here, maybe there's a problem. It's like, if that's what you have to do to prove your innocence, you have a very weak ground you're standing on. And this one really stood out to me. These resulting anomalies are consistent with my expert opinion that the gameplay on the subject videotapes, including the anomalies depicted, could be from original Donkey Kong hardware, and that the anomalies are the result of component degradation in the 2-bit converter. But yet he offers zero proof as to how or why. He just says it could be, and in my expert opinion, because it could be, it is. That's like saying something could be from another planet. I could be from the planet Zarkonia and an alien, and because I'm an expert on the opinion of who I am, I know that's what it is. It doesn't mean anything. He then goes on to say, the likelihood that 2-bit converter components would fail identically across multiple converters so that experiments could be attempted is unlikely and makes definitive answers from such tests unlikely. Giving him plenty of room to squeeze out of this. However, it is clear that the videotapes could depict gameplay from the original Donkey Kong hardware despite the anomalies depicted. So they could be from original Donkey Kong hardware, and because he's an expert, they are. What kind of logic is this? Like, it's hard to even follow it with a serious mindset. This is absolute absurd insanity. So even though he starts off saying it's unlikely, he still reaches the opposite conclusion by saying the word could. Ultimately, after going through all of this, I can't help but feel that Zeda's explanations are extremely questionable. I'm filled with a tremendous amount of skepticism while reading through this report. They seem to form a narrative that's a bit too perfect, excusing any potential cheating scandal involved with Billy Mitchell. In fact, all he goes through and does with this is explain away how things are clearly cheating or clearly lame or clearly wrong, and saying, well, it could be something else. It may not be that. And there's a potential that it could be an arcade. Like, what kind of expert report is this? And then furthermore, having that being used and saying, hey, Twin Galaxies, I hired this guy, he's on my side, and he's telling you that you need to put my scores back up there because this could be legitimate. What even is that? And then going deeper into Michael Zeda's website, he even goes through all the articles talking about him. This guy is so full of himself, it's not even funny. As far as himself, if he's so decorated, if he's so successful in life, if he has all these awards and accomplishments, and he's such a decorated war hero when it comes to a resume, why does he need to do something like this? It just brings up a lot of questions and makes you wonder what's really happening behind the scenes. Those are my thoughts on the situation and my deep dive on Professor Michael Zeda and this guy's legitimacy. Sure, Billy Mitchell was actually smart by finding this guy and doing what he did, but ultimately it didn't prove anything. It just goes to show, as long as you throw money at something, you can get your way. And I think that, at the end of the day, is what's pissing me off about all of this. I'm just trying to get down to the truth of it all, and I think that is what we should care about most. Unfortunately, people like Billy just want the recognition, and that, at the end of the day, is what he's getting. I'm going to leave it there. Again, check out smashjt.com for my full article breaking down this entire situation with Michael Zeda. All my links, references, sources, and information that I could find is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.
Sausage rich?
Smash,